A very good evening to all my dear students. So this is the last session on chapter number 4, cost management technique. A very good evening to all my dear students. So basically in the last session, we have started two topics. The first one is learning curve theory. We have completed that topic along with the structural part. Okay, so basically there are two approaches in learning curve theory. The first approach is known as doubling approach, while the other approach is known as a formula approach. The important point, most important point of learning curve theory is whatever answer you are getting, whether through doubling approach or through formula approach, the answer you are getting is the average labor time. Is the average labor time. So it is the raw data. Definitely you have to apply some calculation on that, then only you will get the required data as asked in the question. But one thing is sure, whether you are using doubling approach or the formula approach, the answer you are getting is the raw one. That is, it is the average labor time per unit. Okay. Next, we have started a discussion on Pareto analysis. That concept has been given by Vilfredo Pareto, who is an Italian economist. And according to his finding way back 120, 125 years earlier, that 80% of wealth of Italy is owned by 20% of Italians. Therefore, this Pareto analysis is also known as 80-20 rule. Okay. And I already told you that the ratio of 80-20 is not at all rigid. What matter is vital few is contributing the bigger picture. Please repeat with me. This is very, very important sentence. Vital few is contributing the bigger picture. So if that strategic level of management focus on that vital few, definitely the result is bigger, and the remaining 80% effort should be dedicated to the tactical level or operational level of management, that is the middle and lower level of management. Can you tell me about the most important word while dealing with practical question on Pareto analysis? Will you be able to recall that word? What is that most important word? Rashmi, Kanimuji, good evening, beta. While dealing with practical questions on Pareto analysis, what is the key word? I'm waiting for your answer. What is that keyword while dealing with practical questions on Pareto analysis? And the keyword, very good beta, mostly answered correctly by almost all of the students. And that keyword is descending order. Whatever data you have been given, whether the pricing of a product has been given, or the customer profitability has been given, or ABC stock control, or the quality control, or the cost driver in ABC, anything, whatever is given, that data you have to arrange in descending order. What do you mean by descending order? Starting from the highest and go to the lowest. That is known as descending order. You have to arrange each and every data in the descending order, and then convert them into percentage terms, and then the cumulative percentage term. That's it. That is known as Pareto analysis chart. Okay, beta? Chali. So let's start some more question, beta. We have seen a very basic question of Pareto analysis in the last session. That's a very simple question. I think it's illustration number 5. Now we will proceed some good question given in page number 55 and page number 56 of the study material. Please open page number 56 of the study material. Page number 55 and 56 of the study material. It's question number 2. Okay, can I start? देखिए, Generation 2050 Technologies Limited develops cutting-edge innovation that are powering the next revolution in mobility, and have 9 tablet smartphone model currently in the market, whose previous year financial data is given below. So the name of the company is Generation 2050 Technologies Limited. They have 9 tablet smartphone models, and we have been given the data of the previous financial year. Okay. What are the details they have given? They have given the model 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Total 9 models are there. You have been given the sales. You have been given the profit volume ratio. Okay. Now, requirement part number 1. Using the financial data, carry out a Pareto analysis of sales and contribution. तो आपको एक Pareto analysis chart बनाना है, that is 80-20 rule बनाना है of sales and contribution. Okay, beta. So the question is very simple. The name of the company is Generation 2050. They are having total 9 tablet smartphones, and you have been given the previous year financial data, and you have been asked to carry out a Pareto analysis, that is 80-20 rule of sales and contribution. Second part is the most important part, because now you have to apply your knowledge. Second point is discuss your finding with appropriate recommendation. जो भी आपने यहाँ पे Pareto chart बनाया है, उसको आपको appropriate recommendation company को provide करना है कि what are those vital few and what are and that vital few are contributing almost 80% of the result. तो check कीजिए बेटा, यहाँ पे according to requirement part number 1, please listen my question very carefully beta. It's a very important question from my side. I will check how properly you interpret the language of the requirement part. Before giving my answer, I strongly suggest you to read out the requirement part once again when my question is over. I'm asking the question, whatever is required in requirement part number 1, whether the data is already arranged in descending order or we have to arrange data in descending order. Please communicate to me, beta. What's your view on that? As per requirement part number 1, whatever we have to find out, whether that data is already given in descending order or we have to arrange some of the data in descending order. Please communicate. Okay, as per Bhaumik, that is already in descending order. Okay, beta. I am waiting for other student view also. Then we will start discussing whether the content required in requirement part number 1 is already arranged as per our requirement or we should arrange that one. Please reply fast. Okay, Kani Moji have answered, we have to arrange. Can you please elaborate that answer, beta? Lanka Balashri have answered for contribution should be arranged. Okay. What about Lohia ji, Rashmi? Please communicate. What's your view? Okay. We have to arrange based on contribution. Okay, beta. Now, the most important part is the interpretation of requirement part number 1. In requirement part number 1, we have been asked to prepare two Pareto chart. One if related with sales and the other if related with contribution. This is very, very important. We are not supposed to prepare one Pareto chart. We are supposed to prepare two Pareto chart, one for the sale. When you see the sales data, it has already been arranged in descending order. Just we have to carry out the percentage detail and that's all. While the contribution detail has not been arranged in the descending order, we have to arrange first the in descending order and then only we will carry out the Pareto analysis of contribution. Sales is already arranged in descending order while the contribution is not arranged. Can you tell me two products which will appear in point number 1 and point number 2 whenever we prepare the contribution chart? Can you please tell me the product which appear in the first rank, highest, then lowest, second rank? I am waiting for your answer, Veda. Which are the first two top priority product of Pareto chart of contribution? Because that data has not been arranged, we have to arrange that data. I asked a very simple question. Please communicate fast, beta. No, Rashmi, I want that product which appear first in the contribution Pareto chart. We will prepare separate chart for sales and separate for the contribution. Okay. Sales is already arranged in descending order. Now we have to arrange the contribution in descending order. So I'm asking you which two product appears on the top. It's very easy. Jishnu, product number 2 and 5. No, beta. That's not the correct answer. That answer is very, very simple, beta. I don't know why you are taking so much time. It's tablet number 9 and tablet number 5, because tablet number 9 have a PV ratio of 60%, while tablet number 5 have a PV ratio of 41%. So these are the two topmost products. Then tablet number 7 will appear, then tablet number 6 will appear, and so on. Any doubt, beta? Any doubt? This is not the correct way, because if you are thinking that product 9 is having the highest PV ratio, so it will appear on the top position, that will be a wrong interpretation. We are not supposed to carry out Pareto analysis for PV ratio. We are supposed to carry out Pareto analysis for contribution. So first of all, we have to calculate the contribution in rupee by multiplying the sales into PV ratio. And then we can decide which are the product which appears on top based on contribution in rupee. So it's a very, very common mistake, beta, na? Ki students generally think that PV ratio of last product is 60%, so it will appear on top. No, beta. It's not the Pareto chart of PV ratio, it's the Pareto chart of contribution. Clear है? तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं बेटा. क्वेश्चन देखिए, क्योंकि बिकॉज ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट नंबर 2 वी हैव टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन इन द क्लास इटसेल्फ, अदरवाइज वी कैन मूव फर्दर. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 है, आई थिंक. सबसे पहले we are preparing the sales Pareto chart. Sales Pareto chart. Four columns will be there. Product, sales in rupee, percentage, and cumulative percentage. Okay, so tell me the detail. I'm writing just the product 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 and 9. What is the amount of sales given? 5,100, 3,000, 2,100, 1,800, 1,050, 750, and 75. Make a total of the sales column and tell me the amount. 5,100 plus 3,000 plus 2,100, 1,800, 1,050, 750, 450, and again 300. It's 14,550. 14,550. Okay, beta. Now we have to convert this data into percentage terms. So please continue with me. 5,100 divided by 14,550. It's 35.05. Okay. Next, 3,000 divided by 14,550. It's 20.62. Okay, beta. Please continue till product number 9. What are the percentage? Okay, beta. Now, what is the percentage? Okay, 14.43, 12.37, 7.22, 5.15, 3.09, 1.55, and 0.52. Hope each and every student have rightly calculated the percentage, individual percentage. It's very simple. Now it's time for cumulative percentage. So 35.05, then 35.05 plus 20.62. Correct, beta? 35.05 plus 20.62. What is 55.67? Okay. Then 55.67 plus 14.43. 70.10. Okay. Then 82.47. Then 89.69. 94.84. 97.93. 99.48, and finally 100%. Okay, beta, it's a very simple calculation, nothing special about this. already the detail are given in the descending order. Just we have to complete column number 3 and 4 in percentage terms. Okay. Now we have to calculate the contribution in rupee terms. Then only we can find out what will be the descending order for contribution Pareto chart. Okay. So let's make a calculation first. Contribution in amount. So these are the product. 1. Okay. Now contribution, what will be the formula? Sales is given to you. Sales multiplied by PV ratio will provide you the contribution. So I'm giving you 2 minutes of time, beta. Please complete this detail of contribution in rupee. And based on this data, now we will arrange the contribution in descending order, starting from the highest. Okay. So I'm giving you 2 minutes of time to complete this calculation of contribution in rupee. Oh, beta, each and every student have find out the contribution in rupee. Okay. Now we can arrange this data in descending order. Now the first product which is having the highest contribution is product number 2. It will appear in the first rank. Then product number 5 will appear in the second rank. Then please tell me, beta, 3 and read. Product number 3 will appear in the third rank. Then product number 4. Then product number 1 will appear in the first rank. Then, no. Product number 6 will appear in the fifth rank. Then product number 1 in seventh rank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will appear in sixth rank. Then 7, then 8, and then 9. Okay. In this way, now we have to arrange the data according to the product that is giving the highest contribution and goes till the lowest contribution. Okay, beta? Any doubt in this point? कैन वी प्रोसीड फर्दर? अब अपन बनाएंगे कंट्रीब्यूशन परेटो चार्ट. कंट्रीब्यूशन परेटो चार्ट. The second part is very, very special of this question. You have to discuss your finding of sales Pareto chart, contribution Pareto chart, along with your recommendation. That's a very, very important part. So product, contribution in rupee, individual percentage, and cumulative percentage. Okay. So, no. पहले वो प्रोडक्ट आएंगे जिनका हाईएस्ट कंट्रीब्यूशन है. So first of all, product 2 is giving us the highest contribution. And what is the amount of contribution? It's 690. Clear? Then product number 5 is giving us the next highest contribution, and the contribution is 435. Clear? Next, it's product number 3 with a contribution of 300. Then product number 4, 255. Then product number 6 with a contribution of 195. Then product number 1 with a contribution of 180. Then product number 7, 120. Then product number 9, 45. And then product number 8, 15. Have a total of the total contribution. कितना total contribution आ रहा है उसका एक बार total लगा लीजिए आप. Then we will convert it in percentage terms. Please communicate me the amount of contribution in total. बता रहा बेटा 2235. Okay, it's 2235. Now we have to convert this contribution in rupee in percentage basis. So 690 rupee of contribution divided by 2235. कितना आंसर आ रहा है? 690 divided by 2235. It's 30.87. 30.87. Then 435 divided by 2235. It's 19.47. Okay. Likewise, आप कैलकुलेट करते जाइए बेटा कितना आ रहा है. Then it's 13.42. चलिए, I'm giving you 2 minutes. आप इंडिविजुअल परसेंटेज भी कैलकुलेट कीजिए and then convert it into cumulative percentage. I'm giving 2 to 3 minutes time. After that, the most important part of this question will start. That is the discussion of our finding along with the recommendation part. Okay. I'm giving you 2 to 3 minutes to complete the same. Okay, great, Rashmi. You have answered all the points. Very good, beta. Can we start with the discussion part? Okay. So what discussion is demanded by the author? Let's read out the requirement part again. What is the requirement part? Discuss your finding along with your recommendation. You have prepared two Pareto chart. The first Pareto chart is related with sales, while the other Pareto chart is related with contribution. Now the author requires to discuss the finding of sales Pareto chart and the contribution Pareto chart, and then give your appropriate recommendation. Okay. So I'm giving you some hint, beta. First, you should try on your own, and then we will discuss together. That will benefit you more. Okay. If you can write down, you can write down in the copy. The very first point discussion will be vital few of sales. Vital few of sales. Then on second point, write down vital few of contribution. Third point, vital few common under vital few common under सेल्स एंड कंट्रीब्यूशन. कुछ ऐसे प्रोडक्ट आपको मिलेंगे जो वाइटल फ्यू सेल्स में भी आ रहे हैं एंड वाइटल फ्यू कंट्रीब्यूशन चार्ट में भी आ रहे हैं, तो आपको उनको फाइंड आउट करना है. एंड फोर्थ इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, फाइंड आउट प्रोडक्ट appearing in vital few of sale. Find out product appearing in vital few of sales but not in contribution. Find out product appearing in vital few of sales, turnover में आ रहा है but not in contribution, and vice versa. Vice versa means वो sales के vital few में नहीं आ रहा है but vital few contribution में आ रहा है. So this are the total finding. और जो लास्ट वाला पॉइंट है ना, जो सेल्स के वाइटल फ्यू में अपीयर हो रहा है बट नॉट अपीयरिंग इन द कंट्रीब्यूशन, वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड द रिकमेंडेशन. जो कंट्रीब्यूशन के वाइटल फ्यू में आ रहा है बट नॉट अपीयरिंग इन द वाइटल फ्यू ऑफ सेल्स, वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड द रिकमेंडेशन. So fourth point is the most crucial part of this particular requirement part number 2. Before we will discuss together, let's you be given the chance to try on your own, beta. No, nothing to lose. आपको मैंने पूरा स्ट्रक्चर प्रोवाइड कर दिया हूं. आप अब अपने लेवल पे मेहनत करें और एक बार सोचे व्हाट वुड बी द आंसर. एंड डेफिनेटली द रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट 2 विल कैरी 8 मार्क्स. उससे कम का रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट नहीं है, सेकेंड रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट. सो थिंक आंसर फ्रॉम दैट परस्पेक्टिव, that will cover your 8 marks in the examination. Okay, beta. So I'm giving you complete 3 to 4 minutes to think on your own. given you the structure beta, just focus on that structure and definitely you will find out the correct answer that is required for a 8 marks explanation. ओके बेटा, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट द डिस्कशन पार्ट. देखिए अब आप सबसे पहले वाइटल फ्यू ऑफ सेल्स, वाइटल फ्यू ऑफ सेल्स. तो यहां पे देखेंगे दिस आर दी वाइटल फ्यू ऑफ सेल्स. जस्ट गिव मी अ मिनट. सो दिस आर दी वाइटल फ्यू ऑफ सेल्स डेटा. नो नो, ये नहीं बेटा, एक जस्ट ये है वाइटल फ्यू ऑफ सेल्स डेटा. दिस 3 प्रोडक्ट which is approximately accounted for 70% of the total turnover. Now some student will have a doubt for why you have not considered the 4th product so that the total become 82.47. 4 प्रोडक्ट को इसलिए नहीं लिया बेटा बिकॉज देयर आर टोटल 9 प्रोडक्ट. तो 4 डिवाइडेड बाय 9 करेंगे तो इट्स अप्रोक्सीमेटली 43-44%. while 3 divided by 9 करेंगे that gives a better picture that these are the vital few. 3 divided by 9 कर रहे हैं तो 1/3 आ रहा है. So it is giving the impression that vital few are 3 which is contributing 70% of the turnover. So the first point will be product number 1, product number 2 and product number 3 are vital few because they are contributing almost 70% of the turnover. क्लियर हुआ? ये पहला पॉइंट. सेकेंड पॉइंट, सिमिलरली इन केस ऑफ कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन यू हैव टू से दैट प्रोडक्ट नंबर 2, 5 and 3, product number 2, 5 and 3 is almost contributing 64% of total contribution. 64% of total contribution. ये हुआ आपका सेकेंड पॉइंट. ठीक है. नाउ कैन यू टेल मी which are the common product that are appearing in vital few of sales and vital few of contribution also? So product number 2 and product number 3 is appearing in the sales Pareto chart as well as product number 2 and 3 is appearing in the contribution Pareto chart. So we will say in third point that product number 2 and product number 3 are common among the vital few of sales and contribution. So their product pricing will be done only and only by the strategic level of management because they are not only important from the turnover viewpoint, they are also important from the contribution viewpoint. Clear है बेटा? चलिए अब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डिस्कशन. प्रोडक्ट 1 जो है वो अपीयर हो रहा है, प्रोडक्ट 1 जो है वो अपीयर हो रहा है हमारे वाइटल फी ऑफ सेल्स में, contributing 35% of turnover. Product 1 is contributing 35% of turnover while product 1 is just contributing 8% in contribution. While product 1 is contributing just 8% in contribution. है ना? So यहां पे इस प्रोडक्ट को, ये पॉपुलर प्रोडक्ट है या नहीं पहले ये बताइए आप. Whether product number 1 is a popular product or not? Yes, because it is highest in terms of turnover, तो ये पॉपुलर प्रोडक्ट है. But definitely कहीं ना कहीं इसकी प्राइसिंग अफेक्ट हो रही है, जिसके कारण दैट प्रोडक्ट इज नॉट कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटिंग इनफ कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन, that product is not contributing enough contribution. So the pricing of product number 1 should be reviewed by the management, because although it's a popular product but not from the viewpoint of contribution. ये हमारा fourth finding का पहला point हुआ. Then the other point in the fourth point is product number 5 is contributing almost 20% in contribution. Product number 5 is among the vital few among contribution and is contributing 20% in contribution, but regarding the sales, it is contributing just 7%. So we will recommend that more promotional activities should be carried out for product number 5, because it's a very lucrative product for the company, because contributing almost 20% in the total contribution, but regarding the sales volume, it is contributing just 7%. So through promotional activity, promotional campaign for dealers and the final customer, we can definitely increase the sale of product number 5. Because higher the sale of product number 5, greater will be the contribution provided by that particular product. Clear बेटा? तो बहुत बहुत अच्छा requirement part था, and especially requirement part number 2. Okay? Any doubt in this particular question, beta? Please communicate. Any doubt in this particular question? Can we proceed further towards the next question? Please communicate with us so that I can move further towards the next question. Rashmi, Bhaumik, Kanimoji, Lanka Balashri, Jishnu, Lohiya ji. Any doubt beta in this particular question? Can we move further? Okay, clear hai sabhi ko. Chaliye. So let's move to the last question of Pareto analysis. Then we will move towards a new topic known as environmental management accounting. So let's start question number 3rd. If I am not wrong, this question has been asked in the examination for 10 marks, 8 to 10 marks. Okay, a very simple question, nothing special about it, but full scoring chapter. If I talk about chapter number 4, target costing, life cycle costing, the third topic is Pareto analysis, and the last topic will be environmental management accounting. So let's start topic number, question number 3rd. The information given pertains to ABC Enterprises, a specialized car garage door installation company. A specialized car garage door installation company. So basically, we are having a car garage which is specialized in the door installation. ABC Enterprise used to get multiple service calls from the customer with variety of requirements. Customer may have to install the door, replace the door, adjust the door, or lubricate some part or other to make the door functional. So different requirement of customers are there regarding the installation, replacement, adjustment, or lubrication. They work with 5 major parts as given in the table: door, motor, track, trimmer, and T-lock. Okay. So parts are given from door, motor, track, trimmer, T-lock, and miscellaneous, and the types of services: install, replace, adjust, and lubricate. If customer wants the installation service, then 2 doors are required, 3 motors are required, 5 tracks are required, 14 trimmers are required, 5 T-lock are required. A total of 29 parts are required if installation service is done. If replacement service is done, then 15 types of parts are required. So these are the details given to you. Using the above data, carry out a Pareto analysis of total parts please read out the requirement part very, very carefully, beta. You have to carry out a Pareto analysis of total parts. Okay. Second point, using the same data, carry out the second level Pareto analysis on the type of services with respect to motors only. है ना? तो सबसे पहले आप मुझे इसका डिफेंडिंग ऑर्डर बताइए बेटा. If you are preparing a Pareto analysis chart for requirement part number 1, tell me the descending order of the serial number. है ना? कुछ भी आपको सॉल्व नहीं करना है, just tell me the descending order of the serial number. अगर ये आपने सही कर लिया, then definitely the calculation will be percentage and the cumulative percentage. So giving you 2 to 3 minutes to do this work of requirement part number 1, arrange the serial number according to the descending order. है ना? क्या पूछा है उसके हिसाब से मुझे आप आंसर बताइए और चेक कीजिएगा ये वाले सीरियल नंबर को बोल रहा है वो दिस वन या इसको आपको डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में अरेंज करना है. इफ यू रीड आउट द रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट केयरफुली, डेफिनेटली यू विल कम्युनिकेट मी द राइट आंसर. Okay, Ajit bhai, according to Ajit, it's 243156. Okay, 243156 करेक्ट आंसर है बेटा. बिकॉज यहां पे हमें जो परीटो चार्ट बनाना है, दैट परीटो चार्ट इज रिलेटेड विथ टोटल पार्ट्स. दैट परीटो चार्ट इज रिलेटेड विथ टोटल पार्ट्स. तो सबसे पहला नंबर हमारा 30 पार्ट्स वाला आएगा, दैट इज मोटर का हमारा पहला नंबर आएगा. देन ट्रिमर विल बी हैविंग सेकंड नंबर. ओके, then after 20 it is 13, that it is will be third number. Then door will be the fourth number, then it will be the fifth number, and it will be the sixth number. So the serial number will be 2 4 3 1 5 and 6. These are the descending order, क्योंकि यहां पे हमें टोटल पार्ट्स का परेटो एनालिसिस चार्ट बनाना है. ओके, नाउ टेल मी बेटा, रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट नंबर 2 में आप कैसे परेटो चार्ट बनाएंगे. रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट नंबर 2, रीड आउट द रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट. इफ यू फोकस ऑन द रिक्वायरमेंट पार्ट, you will get the answer beta na. Read out minimum 2 times the requirement part number 2, and I'm sure that you will provide me the correct answer after reading out 2 times. Okay, Aniket, Ajit, 2 students have provided me the answer. I'm waiting for some more student to reply, and then we will discuss the answer of requirement part number 2. It's very simple, beta. Just you have to properly interpret the requirement part. Okay, Rashmi, correct answer है आपका. Okay, beta. In the second requirement part, we have to make a Pareto analysis on one of the type of service. We have to make Pareto analysis on one of the type of service, and the type of service is motors only. सिर्फ motors के लिए हमें Pareto analysis chart बनाना है, and in this motor, the first point will be the adjustment, because adjustment will require 16 motors. Then it will be lubricate, then it will be installation, and then last will be the replace. Okay, so very simple question that has been asked in the examination for I think 10 marks, है ना. Third part भी same वैसा ही है बेटा, दोनों में common निकाल लीजिए, and if some detail are common तो ठीक है, नहीं तो आप फिर vital few that are contributing to the major वो आपको recommend करना है, ताकि यहाँ पे हम strict control रख पाए on the type of parts investment. Clear है? So very simple topic, Pareto analysis. ठीक है बेटा, चलिए. Now we will start the last topic of this chapter, environmental management accounting. Give the heading in your copy, environmental management accounting. Tell me, beta, whether as per your knowledge, if there is any law currently in India which provides that organization has to mandatorily do the environmental management accounting in respect of environment for each and every organization. Please communicate, beta. Whether is there any currently any law in India which requires that each and every organization should mandatorily prepare a report known as environmental management accounting? Yes or no? क्या लगता है आपको? Is there any statute or law which requires that an organization should provide the environmental management accounting report? Yes or no? According to Bhomik, there is some law. Bhomik, can you tell me, beta, which law mandates that every organization should prepare the environmental management accounting and disclose it to the user of financial statement? Others, please think over it, beta. Is there any statute? Have you learned from any accounting standard or the IND-AS or in the company law or anywhere that environmental, you have to do accounting mandatorily regarding the environmental management? No, beta, there is no such statute which mandates any organization, whether corporate or non-corporate, to do the environmental management accounting. Although there is a report known as corporate social responsibility, in which only one part is there, that is social responsibility. While environmental management accounting is totally different from the CSR, although it will benefit the society, but CSR and the environmental management accounting are not synonym. Okay, beta. So right now there is no statute in India which requires the organization to do accounting from the environmental management viewpoint. But you will see in very near future, each and every country will be forced to make mandatorily the environmental management accounting due to the environmental issues prevailing in the whole world. Okay, so let's start from this point itself. There is no statute right at present which requires in India that the corporate or the non-corporate should have to prepare the environmental management accounting. What is environmental management accounting? In very simple terms, they require to address the environmental issues at the time of making decision. Whenever you are pricing the product, at that point itself, you have to consider what impact it has created while manufacturing the product and what impact it will create on environment once the product ends its useful life. जब उसको डिस्पोज किया जाएगा तो उसका एनवायरमेंट में क्या एडवर्स इंपैक्ट पड़ेगा, जब वो मैन्युफैक्चर किया गया what adverse impact on environment it has created. You have to consider such environmental issue whenever you are making any sort of decision. Second point, suppose you are planning for a new factory. Okay, वो जो लोकेशन है, अगर आप उस लोकेशन में अपनी फैक्ट्री एस्टेब्लिश करते हैं, then what will be the environmental impact? आपको फाइनेंशियल तो देखना ही देखना है, whether it will be financially viable for the company to install the factory at that particular premises, but at the same time, you should also consider from the viewpoint of environment what impact it will create, positive or negative, if we install the factory, if we construct the factory at that particular location, है ना? So यहां पर कोई लॉ मैंडेट नहीं करता है, बट देयर आर थ्री सॉलिड रीजंस, which requires that organization should do environmental management accounting. When you see the operating cost of the organization, you will be surprised to know that minimum 8 to 10% of the organization cost consists of environmental cost. Once you identify them as environmental cost, then only you can take initiative so that the environmental cost can be reduced without affecting the quality of the environment. So first of all, you have to identify, and definitely out of the operating cost incurred in the organization, it is very, very easy to consider 8 to 10% of the total cost incurred operating cost belongs to the environmental cost. What will be covered in environmental cost, we will study later on. Second, regulatory requirement. Right now, there is no regulatory requirement that every organization, whether corporate or non-corporate, has to prepare the environmental management accounting. But in the future, you will see such point. Third, society prefer corporate that are socially and environmentally responsible. If you can prove to the customer that whatever product we are providing to you that has been manufactured taking environmental factor in consideration, whatever when the product are disposed, it will be disposed in an eco-friendly manner. So definitely society will definitely prefer that company who are not only socially responsible but also environmentally friendly. Okay, so these are the solid three reasons why an organization should voluntarily disclose the environmental management accounting information. Okay, beta. Now a very, very important definition has been given in the study material. Let's study that definition first. Give the heading in your copy, beta, because we will write down the definition in our copy. Give the heading in your copy: environmental management accounting. An example is given that MOCO environmental cost is approximately 22%. In the United Kingdom, the company has been fined for not following the environmental management accounting regulation and the socially and environmentally responsible company. So have you given the heading? Environmental management accounting. Now write down the definition part, beta. It's a very, very important definition. if you are having the red pen, use that pen to write the definition part. Please write down. We are writing the abbreviated name EMA. EMA is the process of collection, and analysis of information relating to environmental cost for internal decision making. So that these are the keywords. First of all, we will collect, then we will analyze the environmental information related to environmental cost for internal decision making. Right now, since no statute has mandated the disclosure of environmental management accounting report, therefore it is used only and only for internal decision making. Now, there are two keywords in this definition part. Information related to environment, that is, what is environmental information and what do you mean by environmental cost? These are the two keywords in this particular definition. So let's repeat with me, beta. The definition part, what is EMA? EMA is the process of collection. First of all, we will collect the environmental information, environmental cost, and then we will analyze this environmental information which are related to environmental cost so that we can take internal decision making. What are the internal decision making? Product pricing, budgeting, investment appraisal, calculating cost, and other performance target. So this is basically for internal decision making. There is no statute which mandated the environmental management accounting. Therefore, the internal word has been used before the word decision making. Now we will discuss what do you mean by environmental information and what do you mean by environmental cost. Clear है? तो देखिए बेटा, what do you mean by environmental information? Environmental information will be bifurcated into two parts. Environmental information will be bifurcated into two parts: physical information and monetary information. Physical information as well as monetary information together constitute the environmental information. And then we will proceed towards environmental cost. Whenever you have been asked a question about EMA, environmental management accounting, and the answering part requires the use of definition, you have to mandatorily use these two keywords. The first two keywords are environmental information. The next two keywords are environmental cost. These are the most important keywords in the definition of environmental management accounting. So EVA is the collection, EVA is the analysis of environmental information related to environmental cost for internal decision making. As you can see, beta, a lot of discussion is available in respect of these keywords, environmental information and environmental cost. Okay, so I'm giving you some time so that you can read out on your own from the study material. What do you mean by environmental information? It has been explained in very, very clear language. No doubt about it. Please open page number 39. There are only three paras related to this. Para number 1, para number 2, and para number 3. Please open beta page number 39. So I'm giving you beta 3 to 4 minutes of time to read out on your own. What do you mean by environmental information? Because this environmental information will be collected and analyzed which are related to environmental cost. So you must be very clear. What do you mean by environmental information? Okay, for 3 to 4 minutes time is available with you to read out and interpret the same properly. Okay, beta. So what is environmental information? The information pertaining to the environment is known as environmental information. They are classified into two parts: physical information and monetary information. That is, how much kilowatt energy you have consumed, how much gallons of water you have consumed, how much raw material from the nature you have consumed, and its output thereafter, and what are the waste and emission. Suppose you have consumed 100 gallons of water and you have provided to the customer out of that. Suppose you are a packet water manufacturing company. So 100 gallons of water you have taken as input, while 80 gallons of water has been provided to the customer, while the 20 gallons of water, out of that 20 gallons of water, you have processed that one and used 15 gallons of water for the treatment of plant and other activity. The net 5 gallons are wasted by your organization. For the physical information include, we have taken 100 gallons of input. Out of that 85 gallons of input, 80 gallons of input is provided to the customer in the form of packet drinking water. The 15 gallons of input has been reused in the garden area and in other area used as secondary water, and the remaining 5 gallon of water are waste discharged in the environment. So this is known as physical information. अब ये 100 gallons of water को extract करने में what cost you have incurred is known as monetary environmental information. फिर वो जो 15 गैलन ऑफ वेस्ट वाटर वेस्ट हुआ था, उसको जब आपने रिसाइकल किया था, what is the cost incurred on that recycle, so that you have saved the environment related to that 15 gallon water, वो हमारी environmental cost आएगी. और जो 5 gallon of water है, वो जो आपने environment में discharge किया, whether it will create some pollution in the environment, it will hurt the mother nature, उससे related जो cost है, that will also be included in the monetary environmental information. So simple सा point है बेटा, जो physical flow है आपका volume का quantity का, वो तो आपको बताना है, along with the output, along with the recycled material, along with the treatment of waste, etc. उसके अलावा उनसे related जो भी आपका monetary खर्चा आया है, including the cost, including the saving, including the ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ रिसाइकल्ड मटेरियल, रिसाइकल वाटर, वो सब चीजें यहाँ पे मॉनेटरी फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन में आ जाएगी। क्लियर बेटा? सो एनवायरमेंटल इंफॉर्मेशन कैन बी ऑफ टू टाइप, physical flow, physical information, and the monetary information. Now, we will talk about the environmental cost, because the definition is it is the collection and analysis of environmental information related to environmental cost, used for internal decision making. So there are four views given for environmental cost. There are four views available for environmental cost. The first view is regarding the generic classification, that is internal environmental cost and external environmental cost. The second, United States Environmental Protection Agency have defined the word environmental cost. Then two authors, Henson and Mendoza, have categorized the environmental cost into four parts. Environmental prevention cost. Just recall the concept where we have studied this word, okay? Environmental prevention cost, environmental appraisal cost, environmental internal failure cost, environmental external failure cost. Can you recall the concept in which we have studied this terminologies? Yes, Ajit, right, beta. Quantity of resources used by the entity. कहाँ पढ़ा था बेटा? Prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost. That topic and this topic together make up the environmental cost classification number 3rd. कहाँ पे पढ़ा था? जल्दी से आप रिकॉल कीजिए बेटा. Where we have studied that point: appraisal cost, prevention cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost. Okay, very good, beta. We have studied that topic in chapter number 2, cost of quality. Cost of quality is bifurcated into 4 parts, and now these two authors named as Hanson and Mendoza have classified the same in environmental management cost also. Okay, and the last definition is given by United Nations Division for Sustainable Development. As a student, you must be familiar with all the 4 views given in the study material regarding the environmental cost. So let's start the generic classification of environmental cost. What is environmental cost as per generic classification? आइए बताओ. तो क्या पढ़ रहे समझ में आ गया ना? ईएमए की डेफिनेशन में आया था एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट. नाउ एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट हैज बीन क्लासिफाइड इनटू 4 क्लासिफिकेशन. फॉर द फर्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन इज जेनरिक क्लासिफिकेशन. एक बार अपने लेवल पे पढ़िए बेटा. इट्स वेरी वेरी सिंपल. व्हाट इज जेनरिक क्लासिफिकेशन? देन वी विल डिस्कस टुगेदर. In page number 40, generic classification is given to you. And the note is also very important beta regarding the inverse relationship between these two type of cost. Please read out very carefully, beta, and try to understand each and every point. Okay, beta. So what is generic classification? Generic classification has bifurcated environmental cost into two parts: internal environmental cost and external environmental cost. What is internal environmental cost? These are the costs incurred to prevent the environment from damaging the environment. To prevent damaging the environment. So ये जो खर्चा है ये डायरेक्टली आपको बियर करना पड़ेगा. Due to this expenses, definitely your profit will be lower. While external environmental costs are, the benefit has been generated by the organization, but the adverse side of the environment will be borne by the society at large. है ना, कस्टमर नहीं बोला हमने बेटा, सोसाइटी वो बॉर्न करती है. बेनिफिट आपको मिला है, बट उसके जो एडवर्स इंपैक्ट है that will be borne by the society, known as external environmental cost. Therefore, जो नोट दिया गया उसमें एक बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट है. If you incur a reasonable amount on internal environmental cost, then you can definitely save the external environmental cost. So internal environmental cost, you have to spend some expenditure, and definitely such expenditure will lower our profit, no doubt about that. What is external environmental cost? We have consumed the environmental resources, but the adverse impact of it will be borne by the society. है ना, जिसमें अगर हम वेस्ट को डिस्पोज प्रॉपरली करें, सो दैट जो कार्बन है, चेंज इन क्लाइमेट है, हम उसको कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. इफ वी प्रॉपरली डिस्पोज द वेस्ट, तो जो सॉइल इरोशन है और फॉरेस्ट डिग्रेडेशन है, हम उसे कम कर सकते हैं. इफ वी इंप्रूव अवर सिस्टम so that the damage to the environmental can be lower, so हम ये तीनों चीजें फिर यहाँ पे reduce कर सकते हैं. So there is an inverse relationship between internal environmental cost and the external environmental cost. Okay बेटा, एग्जांपल यहाँ पे दिया है, हेल्थ केयर ऑफ पर्सन. अगर आप प्रॉपर फिल्ट्रेशन के थ्रू प्रोसेस नहीं बनाते, तो जो भी एमिशन है रॉ मटेरियल का, वो अगर एयर में जाएगा तो डेफिनेटली जो नियर बाय सोसाइटी है उनकी हेल्थ डेफिनेटली अफेक्ट होगी. तो बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट दिया, स्पेशली दिस नोट. देयर इज एन इनवर्स रिलेशनशिप. इफ यू इनकर रीजनेबल अमाउंट ऑन इंटरनल एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट, देयर विल बी अ significant decrease in the external environmental cost. So this is the generic classification of environmental cost. There are total 4 classification of environmental cost. This is the first classification. Clear beta? Second classification आप पढ़िए. This is given by an organization known as United States Environmental Protection Agency. The abbreviation is US, United States, EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. You can remember this abbreviation also. It's very common. US EPA has provided the meaning of environmental cost in 4 points: conventional cost, potentially hidden cost, contingent cost, and relationship and corporate image cost. Okay, so I'm once again giving you about 3 to 4 minutes to read out this point. The definition is clearly given. The examples are given in each and every point. so that student can clearly understand what are the meaning given by the US EPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency. Okay, so 3 to 4 minutes are once again being provided to you so that you can interpret on your own. It has much benefit as compared to the spoon feeding part. Okay, chलिए. A little bit about the theoretical part है बेटा, याला जो कंटेंट है EMA का, प्लीज बियर विथ मी. Yes, rightly said, Ajit Rathod beta. Very good. Yes, beta. Karthik, already ICI has asked case study question on this particular topic, beta. Yes, Lakshmi Narayan rightly point out, beta. They are known as conventional cost. Yes. Okay, beta, I think it's very clear cut given. No need of any explanation in classification number 2. Can I move further? Okay. Now this is very, very important. I think the most important part of environmental cost classification out of the 4 classification is classification number 3rd. Okay. Already a question is there regarding this classification, and some more question can be drafted because it is the merging of two concepts: cost of quality, prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, and external failure cost. These are the concept of cost of quality that are being used by the author Hansen and Mendoza in environmental management accounting. So, if the paper setter use this classification, he can ask two concepts in a single question: cost of quality and environmental management accounting. Definitely, beta, we will discuss this point in detail, but again, time will be given to you to have a reading of this environmental cost classification. Before that, I will revise the cost of quality classification so that it will be helpful for you how that classification has been deliberately modified so that it can be used in environmental management accounting. जैसा आपने cost of quality में पढ़ा था, as it is यहाँ पे नहीं है बेटा. That has been deliberately modified so that it can, the cost of quality concept can fit into the environmental management accounting. So let's revise the cost of quality concept first in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then you will be given time to read out classification number 3, interpret on your own, and then definitely we will discuss the point, because according to me, this is the most important classification of environmental cost. So what is cost of quality? Cost of quality has been subdivided into 2 parts: conventional cost and conformance cost and non-conformance cost. Once again, the conformance cost is divided into 2 parts. The first one is prevention cost, the second one is appraisal cost. While the non-conformance cost is again divided into 2 parts: internal failure cost and external failure cost. Internal failure cost and external failure cost. So what do you mean by prevention cost? All the costs incurred by the organization to prevent the defect from occurring in the very first instance. So whatever the level of defectives right now, prevention costs focus on reducing that defect level day by day so that the defect can be avoided in the very first instance. What is appraisal cost? Cost incurred to check whether we have purchased the right raw material, whether we have manufactured the right finished goods according to our standard. That is, testing, inspection are part of appraisal cost. Internal failure cost: if before delivery to the customer, we as an organization were able to know that these are the defective product, then the cost incurred on such defectives are known as internal failure cost. While if the defect has been identified by the customer after they've been sold to the end, then they are known as external failure cost. Okay, so a beautiful combination of cost of quality and environmental management accounting. Now I'm quite confident, beta, once we get the revision of cost of quality, just we revise the frame. Now you can easily interpret how they have modified the cost of quality concept into environmental management accounting. Okay, I'm giving you complete 5 minute, beta. This is a very, very important part. Please give your more than 100% while reading the same. Okay, so it is given in almost page number 41, last page, last few lines, and page number 42. So 5 minutes are being provided to you. After that, we will discuss it combined. Please read out it very carefully, beta na. One last minute, beta. Then we will start discussing combined D. Okay, beta. Can I start discussion? After the discussion, we will definitely take a break, beta. Don't worry. So classification number third, it's the combination of cost of quality and environmental management accounting. Okay. So first of all, prevention cost. If we talk purely about the cost of quality, what is prevention cost? Cost incurred to prevent defect from occurring. Cost incurred to prevent defect from occurring is known as prevention cost, while when cost of quality is merged with environmental management accounting, it's known as environmental prevention cost. So now what does this mean? Cost incurred to prevent adverse environmental impact. सिर्फ cost of quality रहता तो cost incurred to prevent the defect in the units, in the product, while the same cost of quality when applied with environmental management accounting, it means preventing the adverse environmental impact. So उसके लिए क्या क्या एग्जांपल हो सकते हैं? We can pick the pollution control equipment, evaluate and pick those pollution control equipment which can prevent adverse environmental impact. We can create environmental policy. We can have R&D environmentally focused. That is, whatever product we are planning to launch, we will check what raw material they will use, how much natural resources they will use, and once the product has been sold, its useful life is over, how that product will be discarded, whether the material is environmentally friendly, eco-friendly है या नहीं, हम वो कर सकते हैं. Site and feasibility studies, investment in protective equipment so that damage to the environment can be prevented. So all the costs incurred in preventing, not in controlling, in preventing the adverse environmental impact are known as prevention costs. What do you mean by appraisal cost? Cost incurred to check through testing, auditing, inspecting whether the product are up to the standard or not in cost of quality. What do you mean by appraisal cost in environmental management accounting? It's environmental appraisal cost. Cost incurred to determine whether our product, process and all activities are in compliance with environmental standard or not. क्या जो भी हमारी प्रोसेस है, जो भी हमारे प्रोडक्ट है, whether they are following the environmental norms or not. तो यहाँ पे वही चीज बेटा सेम आएगा, टेस्टिंग, इंस्पेक्शन, ऑडिटिंग, ये सब चीजें यहाँ पे आएगी. नथिंग न्यू, नथिंग न्यू. बस उसी कॉस्ट ऑफ क्वालिटी को चेंज कर दिया गया है एनवायरमेंटल रिलेटेड. इंटरनल फेल्यूर क्या कॉस्ट क्या था? बिफोर दे आर बीइंग सोल्ड टू द कस्टमर, वी हैव आइडेंटिफाइड द डिफेक्ट, है ना. Then the cost incurred on such defect are known as internal failure cost. Now environmental internal failure cost क्या होगा? जो भी डैमेज हुआ है एनवायरमेंट को, क्या आप उसको रिसाइकल कर पाते हैं, प्रॉपरली एनवायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली मैनर पे डिस्पोज कर पाते हैं, दैट इज नोन एज एनवायरमेंटल इंटरनल फेल्योर कॉस्ट. जो भी आपने स्टैंडर्ड सेट किया था, दैट हैव वेस्टेड मटेरियल और सम अदर थिंग, whether now you are recycling that product or raw material so that the damage to the environment can be minimized. तो यहाँ पे recycling of scrap, disposing toxic material in a proper way. जब भी आपका प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट हो जाता है, आपको डीकमीशन करते हैं, तो प्रॉपरली एनवायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली मैनर पे आप ये कर रहे हैं, सो दैट द एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज कैन बी मिनिमाइज. यह है इंटरनल फेल्यूर कॉस्ट. व्हाट इज एक्सटर्नल फेल्यूर कॉस्ट? जो भी आपने एक्टिविटीज परफॉर्म किया था, उससे एनवायरमेंट को डैमेज हुआ, बट इन इंटरनल यू हैव मिनिमाइज दैट डैमेज, व्हाइल इन एक्सटर्नल एनवायरमेंट वो डैमेज आपने एनवायरमेंट में फेंक दिया है, दैट वेस्ट हैज बीन डिस्कार्डेड इन द एनवायरमेंट, है ना. तो जो भी वाटर पॉल्यूशन वाटर था, वो आपने कोई भी वाटर कैनल रिसोर्स में छोड़ दिया है, जिसके कारण जो वाटर रिवर है नियर बाय वो पॉल्यूट हो चुकी है. जो भी आपका वेस्ट मटेरियल था, आपने वो नियर बाय लैंडफिल में डाल दिया, जिसके कारण एनवायरमेंट खराब हुआ. तो ये कहलाएगा एक्सटर्नल फेल्यूर कॉस्ट. फिर यहां पे कोई एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट ऑब्जेक्शन लेता है, तब जाके जो फिर आप खर्चे करना पड़ता है ड्यू टू द लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट, देन दैट इज नोन एज एक्सटर्नल फेल्यूर कॉस्ट. यहां पे भी एनवायरमेंट डैमेज हुआ है, बट यू हैव डिस्पोज दैट मटेरियल इन अ प्रॉपर एनवायरमेंटली फ्रेंडली मैनर. यहां पे भी एनवायरमेंट डैमेज हुआ है, लेकिन आपने कोई भी अपनी तरफ से एफर्ट्स नहीं दिया, आपने स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड वो एनवायरमेंट में डिस्पोज कर दिया. नाउ if some environmentalist or the local authority have objected for it, तो फिर जो आपको खर्चा लगेगा, then that cost is known as environmental external failure cost. Okay बेटा, a super point, definitely a very very important topic from this particular chapter, environmental management accounting. क्लियर है? चलिए तो ब्रेक लेते हैं बेटा. ब्रेक के बाद फिर इसको आगे थोड़ा और कंटिन्यू करेंगे. There are almost 15 to 20 minutes more regarding the theoretical part. Then we will do a practical question on environmental management accounting. Okay, so right now in my watch the time is 19:45. We will take break till 20. 8 बजे तक ब्रेक लेते हैं, and then we will move towards some more theoretical topic on EMA in the initial 15 to 20 minutes, and then the last 40 to 45 minutes will be dedicated to the practical question. And if we get some time, roughly 20 to 25 minutes, we will start a new chapter, decision making, so that the remaining time can be utilized in the most effective manner. Okay बेटा, तो चलिए ब्रेक लीजिए आप till 8 PM. चलिए बेटा, so we are started environmental management accounting. We have seen what are the three solid reasons behind environmental management accounting. Okay, significant portion of cost, regulatory requirement, and the last one is society oriented. Then we have seen the definition of environmental management accounting. EMA is the collection and analysis of information cost related to information related to environmental cost for internal decision making. Okay. Then we have proceed towards what do you mean by environmental information. Environmental information has been classified into two parts. The first one is physical information and the second one is monetary information. Physical information may energy resources used in quantity terms, while the same in monetary terms is known as monetary information. Then we have seen there are four classification of environmental cost. Generic classification, फिर US, United States EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, then Hansen and Mendoza ने जो दिया है वो, and the last one is the United Nations for Sustainable Development. Okay, now coming to the last classification, United Nations Division for Sustainable Development has given a very simple classification, that is there are two costs associated with environmental cost. The first cost is related with cost incurred to protect the environment. Whatever measures you have taken so that environment can be protected, all such costs will form part of environmental cost. Second, despite the efforts taken by you, the cost of wasted material, capital and labor, that is inefficiency in the production process, the cost of such inefficiency will be known as environmental cost as per United Nations Division for Sustainable Development. Out of the four classification, the third classification is the most important part. Clear है? चलिए बड़े बेटा आगे. Now, how to manage environmental costs? So there are three phases related to it. Now, altogether different topic. We have seen why EMA. We have seen the definition part. We have seen the environmental information. We have seen the environmental cost for classification. Now, altogether different topic, but related to environmental management accounting. That is how we will manage the environmental cost. There are three phases. Phase one is related with identification of environmental cost. Phase two is related with allocation of environmental cost to cost center and cost unit. And phase three is related with controlling environmental cost. First of all, be very clear with what topic, subtopic we are starting now. How to manage environmental cost. How many stages are there? There are total three stages. The first stage is related with identification of environmental cost. The second stage is related with allocation of environmental cost. The third stage is related with controlling the environmental cost. Okay. So first of all, the topic phase one identification and phase two allocation of environmental cost. So these are the topic how to identify and allocate the environmental cost. So there are four techniques available for identification and allocation, stage one and stage two combinedly. There are four techniques available through which we will identify the environmental cost and thereafter allocate the environmental cost to cost center and cost unit. The first method is very simple. It's input-output analysis. Second is flow cost accounting. Third is life cycle costing. And the fourth one is the most important one, activity-based costing. Simple logic of activity-based costing is higher the services consumed by the product, higher will be the overhead charges. When we study this topic in chapter number 9, strategic analysis of operating income, this is the keyword, higher the services consumed by the product, higher will be the overhead cost. Here in environmental management accounting, it means higher the damage the product has done to the environment, higher the share of environmental cost. जिस प्रोडक्ट ने जितना ज्यादा डैमेज हार्म किया है एनवायरनमेंट को, उसी proportion में that product will bear the environmental cost. So what we are studying, how to manage the environmental cost. So there are total 3 stages. Stage 1, identification of environmental cost. Stage 2, allocation of environmental cost to the cost center and cost end. And third one is the control of environmental cost. So the first 2 stages are combined, and for that they are having 4 methods: input output analysis, flow cost accounting, life cycle costing, and activity based costing. And the most simple method is इनपुट आउटपुट एनालिसिस. ओके, चलिए आइए बेटा आप इसमें इनपुट आउटपुट एनालिसिस. सिंपल सा लॉजिक है. वॉट एवर इनपुट यू हैव टेकन, it must be accounted for either in the form of productive output or non-productive output or unproductive output. So input output analysis, whatever your input to the organization, that must come out either in the form of productive output and unproductive output. If more and more productive output are there, definitely you have done less harm to the environment. But suppose you have taken 100 kg of raw material, but the output generated is just 60 kg, while the remaining 40 kg are totally unproductive waste, then definitely you have done more harm to the environment. So this technique involves the preparation of record for the material inflow and then balances this material inflow with the quantum of outflow, relying on principle. This is very important principle. What enters in the production process must move out. Either it is a productive output or it will be an unproductive output. One example is also given regarding input output analysis. Okay. Next method is flow cost accounting, some advancement of input output analysis. So beta, do one thing. I am giving you 4 to 5 minutes time. Please have a reading of the first 2 technique, input output analysis, and the second flow cost accounting, and then we will discuss. We have already discussed the first method. It's very simple. Just you have to read out the example part of input output analysis, and then we will discuss the second method, that is known as flow cost accounting. Okay, so 3 to 4 minutes I am providing to you to have a reading, interpretation reading of detail given in page number 44. Okay, I am presuming that beta you are utilizing this time to the fullest extent in reading out the content given to you, because it's very important that your interpretation skill must improve. That's why intentionally time is being allotted to you multiple times in each session. Okay, beta. So what is flow cost accounting? Input output analysis में we are considering only the material flow. In flow cost accounting, material flow is been bifurcated according to the organizational structure. That material flow are needed at production department, material flow are needed at store department, materials are needed, environmental material are needed at delivery and disposal. In production department, we require raw material from the environment. We use the energy in the form of electricity. Okay, we use water for those are the material production system. In store, we require the storage space. We require the lighting. So definitely the electricity will be produced from the natural resources will definitely harm the environment. So those are point. And delivery and disposal. In delivery, we use the fuel such as diesel for operating our vehicle. So that will be the cost, disposal cost. Once the product has ended its useful life, how that product will be disposed by the customer or by the company, that will also be covered here. So it's an advancement of input output analysis. In input output analysis, simply compare what comes in must go out either in the form of productive output or unproductive output. While in flow cost accounting, we consider the flow of material, we consider the flow of material used in storage, we consider the material used in delivery and disposal, and then finally decide what harm we have done to the environment. Okay, beta, बढ़े आगे. अब आइए लाइफ साइकिल कॉस्टिंग, अ वेरी सिंपल क्लासिफिकेशन. वी आर स्टडिंग हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई, how to allocate the environmental cost to cost center and cost net. The third technique is life cycle costing. In input output analysis, in flow cost accounting, we consider the data for a particular period, say a month or a year. While in life cycle costing, we consider all the environmental costs associated with that product, right from the development of that product till the abandonment of that product. Puri life cycle. Suppose the product life cycle is of 10 years. So in the complete 10 year, what are the environmental costs that will be incurred and how that environmental cost has damage to the environment? That complete detail will be considered in life cycle costing technique. Okay. So life cycle costing have a feature of full cost accounting because it takes into account the cost and revenue of a product over its whole life rather than one accounting period. Therefore, now important, ये तो बेटा लाइफ साइकिल कॉस्टिंग की डेफिनेशन होगी. Now, what's the role in environmental management accounting? Therefore, the full environmental cost associated with the product will be taken into account irrespective of who bought it. Right from the development of that product till the abandonment of that product, जितनी भी environmental cost से related development phase, introduction phase, maturity, decline, growth phase, सभी फेज से रिलेटेड यहां पर हम एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट कंसीडर करेंगे. ओके, नाउ अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टेक्निक, एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्टिंग. इसके बारे में आप कहीं पे यहीं पे मॉड्यूल में लिख दे बेटा, यहीं पे लिख दीजिए मॉड्यूल में ही. द बेसिक प्रेमाइस ऑफ एबीसी इज the basic premise of ABC is higher the services consumed by the product, higher the services consumed by the product, comma, higher will be the allocation of overhead to that product. Full stop. नेक्स्ट लाइन में लिखे बेटा आप, इन एनवायरमेंटल मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग, in environmental management accounting, comma, the theme will be higher the environmental damage done by that particular product, higher the environmental damage done by a particular product, comma, higher will be the allocation of environmental cost. नेक्स्ट लाइन में लिखे, the basis of allocation under this method might be नेक्स्ट लाइन में पॉइंट नंबर 1 लिखे, volume of waste generated by each product, मतलब जिस प्रोडक्ट ने जितना वेस्ट जनरेट किया है, on that basis we will allocate the environmental cost, volume of waste generated by each product. This is very very important and very interesting point बेटा ना, ये वाला पॉइंट. और सेकंड पॉइंट देखिए, toxicity of emission and waste treated, toxicity of emission and waste treated. हो सकता है बेटा दोनों प्रोडक्ट इक्वल वॉल्यूम ऑफ वेस्ट जनरेट कर रहे हैं, बट आउट ऑफ दैट टू वेस्ट वन प्रोडक्ट वेस्ट इज मोर टॉक्सिक इन नेचर. सो ये बेस इलॉजिकल हो जाएगा कि हम सिर्फ वॉल्यूम ऑफ वेस्ट के आधार पे हमारी एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट को अलोकेट कर रहे हैं. वी आर ऑल्सो टू चेक whether the nature of toxicness of the waste is same. If they are not same, then definitely toxicity of emission should also be considered while allocating the cost. So ना सिर्फ volume हम consider करें, but at the same time we will check whether any material is more toxic as compared to other, although the volume generated by that toxic material is not much more, but since it will damage the environment more even by creating less volume of waste, so therefore it will have a higher allocation of environmental cost. क्लियर है बेटा ये पॉइंट आपको? तो ना सिर्फ हमें वॉल्यूम ऑफ वेस्ट देखना है, एट द सेम टाइम वी हैव टू चेक व्हाट टॉक्सिकनेस लेवल ऑफ वेस्ट इज जनरेटेड बाय अ पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट. ठीक है, चलो. तो एक बहुत सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है बेटा, क्वेश्चन नंबर 6. नो नीड टू चेक आउट फ्रॉम द स्टडी मटेरियल बेटा. इस क्वेश्चन स्क्रीन से ही आप ये क्वेश्चन पढ़िए और जल्दी से रफ पेज में मुझे आंसर बता दीजिए. कैलकुलेट द एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट पर केजी. देयर आर टू केमिकल, एफएक्स एंड जेडएक्स. तो आप मुझे बताइए जो एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट आपको चारों दिया हुआ है, कितने रुपए पर केजी आपकी एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट that will be borne by the first product and that will be borne by the second product. A very simple question. Even a student has not yet studied about the topic environmental management accounting, but he or she can confidently do this particular question, question number 6. There is no doubt about that. I'm giving you 5 minutes of time, beta. Please complete this on a rough page. A very simple question, but the last 2 minutes to complete that particular question. And please tally the answer with the solution part below, because I don't think even there will be a single student who are not comfortable with this particular question. It's a simple, plain, vanilla numerical question. Okay, beta. Hope each and every student has completed the same and tallied the answer with the suggested answer given by the ISET. Okay, beta. So I'm giving you one assignment. There is a question, last question. I think it's question number 7 in test your understanding. It's a mandatory question for each and every student to solve on their own. Okay, and then we will check it in the next class if there is any issue. When you read out that particular question, question number 7, the last question in test your understanding, might be the very first reading you a false impression that the question is tough or tricky. But trust me, beta, when you are having the second interpretation reading, all the calculations can easily be understood by you. The format can be different. Mind it, there is no fixed format in any of the chapters. You can follow format of your own. The format can be different from your own structure, but definitely you will be able to access the right answer on your own. It's question number 7, the last question of test your understanding. Okay, beta. Now, in the remaining part of today's session, we are starting a new chapter, chapter number 5, decision making. A very, very important chapter, beta. Why I am saying this important? Because the content of chapter number 5 is also useful in chapter number 6, that is pricing decision, in chapter number 9, operating analysis of strategic analysis of operating income. A very, very, very important chapter, chapter number 5, decision making. Please give the heading in your copy, decision making. Decision making. First of all, in today's session, we will complete some basic of interlevel. We will complete some basic of interlevel of marginal costing, and then we will move towards the final topic of marginal costing in chapter number 5. So give the heading, beta. Basic of marginal costing. First of all, give the heading. It's chapter number 5, decision making. Chapter number 5, decision making. So some basic of interest required. Might be some students are still able to recall that concept, so it will be a revision for them. Might be some student has forgot about the basic of marginal costing, or they are not very clear about that concept. So I don't want to take any risk beta in this particular chapter number 5, decision making. So I'm starting from scratch. Even you have not studied the marginal costing chapter, or you are not comfortable at interlevel in marginal costing, but if you focus on these 4 to 5 points now, then definitely, even if you have not studied marginal costing at interlevel, it will not create any issue whatsoever at final level marginal costing. Okay, so सबसे पहले हम basic of marginal costing start करते हैं. Give the heading basic of marginal costing. Basic of marginal costing. Okay, the very first basic, although appears to be very simple, and really it's very simple, but it's very helpful at final level to solve reverse working question. Whenever at final level a question has been asked for reverse working under marginal costing concept, then definitely this statement will be very, very, very useful. So the first basic I want to start with is marginal cost statement. Marginal cost statement. The format each and every student know, but since this is also very important at final level, that's why I am writing this concept in your copy even at final level. So the format is sales less variable cost the remainder is known as contribution less fixed cost, and the remaining is known as profit. Now, my first question will be related with variable cost. My second question will be related with fixed cost. And my third question will be related with profit. Can you please tell me whether variable cost in marginal cost statement includes the variable selling and distribution overhead? Yes or no? Whether the variable cost in marginal cost statement includes the variable selling and distribution overhead? Yes or no? Okay, Kani Moji, very good, beta. The answer is correct. What about the views of other student, whether it covers the selling and distribution overhead? The answer is a big yes. All kinds of variable cost will be covered under the head variable cost in marginal costing, whether that is a direct cost or variable overhead, it doesn't matter. There are 3 types of variable overhead: variable factory overhead, variable admin overhead, variable selling and distribution overhead. Please write down point number A. Point number A. All types of variable costs will be covered. All types of variable costs will be covered, comma, including all types of variable costs will be covered, including variable selling and distribution overhead, including variable selling and distribution overhead. Write down similarly B point. Fixed costs cover fixed factory overhead. Fixed costs cover fixed factory overhead, comma, fixed admin overhead, and fixed selling and distribution overhead. And fixed selling and distribution overhead. Now, C point is very interesting. Whether profit that will appear in marginal cost statement is before the income tax, profit before income tax, or it will be profit after income tax. What do you say, Beta? The profit that will appear in marginal cost statement will be profit before income tax, that is profit before tax, or it should be profit after tax. What do you say? Whether it will be profit before tax or it will be profit after tax. Okay, Aniket. Okay, Ajit. Correct answer दिया बेटा आपने. Very good. Keep it up. What about views of other student? Whether the profit should be before tax or after tax. In the complete costing, whenever we use the word profit, that profit must always be before tax. Even in some question, if profit is given after tax, we cannot use it as after tax. We have to convert that profit before tax, and then only we can use in our costing field. So in the complete costing, income tax will be presumed to be a financial transaction, not a costing transaction. Therefore, income tax will be excluded while dealing with the cost statement. Okay. So whenever we are talking about the profit, that profit should always be the profit before tax. लिख दीजिए बेटा. The profit should be profit before tax. Second basic. Second point. Contribution and PVR. What's the relationship between contribution and PVR? It's very simple. Contribution, when expressed in percentage, जब हम contribution जो rupee terms में दिया है, when we express that contribution on percentage term, that is known as PVR, profit volume ratio. As simple as this. So contribution and PVR are interchangeable. They are same. The only difference is contribution is expressed in rupee, while the same contribution when expressed in percentage is known as PVR. है ना? तो रेड पेन से लिखिए बेटा इसमें, नेक्स्ट लाइन में. When contribution is expressed in percentage, when contribution is expressed in percentage, comma, it's known as, when contribution is expressed in percentage, it's known as PVR, profit volume ratio. When contribution is expressed in percentage terms, it's known as PVR, profit volume ratio. Now, a very important discussion, beta, na? Please give a subheading in this point. When PVR will change. I am giving you 4 situations. Change in sale price, change in sales volume, change in variable cost per unit, and change in fixed cost total. Okay, what I mean to say, please listen very carefully. Suppose existing PVR is 20%. Existing PVR is 20%. Out of this 4 situation, there are some situation, even in that situation, the existing PVR of 20% is applicable. If that particular situation changes, even then the PVR will not change, PVR will remain same. But in some of the situation, if existing PVR is 20%, and if that situation arises out of the 4, then definitely we have to calculate a new PVR. The existing PVR will no longer be valid. So आपको क्या बताना है बेटा? आज का PVR 20% है. आपको बताना है इन 4 सिचुएशन में से वो कौन-कौन सी सिचुएशन है जिसमें हम existing PVR यूज नहीं कर सकते. We have to calculate a revised PVR because due to that change, our PVR will also change. Okay, I'm giving you 2 minutes of time to look on your own. What are the situation in which my existing PVR will change? Existing PVR means this is the PVR before such changes. Out of this 4 situation, there are some situation in which my PVR will get changed, while in other, the same PVR can be used even in the change situation. You have to identify that one. It will be very helpful in almost all of the questions that we do in the marginal costing chapter. Okay, chill. 2 minutes time is available with you. Please answer. Okay, Ajit Rathod has answered that there are 2 situations in which my PVR will change. Yes, definitely, because there are 2 situations in which my PVR will change. The first situation is whenever there is a change in sale price, definitely my PVR will be revised. Change includes increase in the sale price, even the decrease in the sale price. Another situation in which my PVR will get changed if the change in variable cost per unit. While in case of change in sales volume and change in fixed cost total, there will be no change whatsoever in the existing PVR. In other words, the existing PVR can be used in situation number 2 and situation number 4, while in situation number 1 and 3, we have to calculate a revised PV ratio. Please write down, beta. Any variable, ऐसा लिखे, the thumb rule is any variable which can change the contribution per unit, any variable which can change the contribution per unit, comma, will change the PVR. So let's stop. Next line. From the above situations, situation number 1 and 3 will have a revised PVR. Will have a revised PVR. Clear, beta? Chill. Now, third point. A very simple point, but useful in some of the question. Variable cost ratio plus PVR is equal to 100%. Variable cost ratio plus PVR is equal to 100%. VCR is variable cost ratio. In some of the question, it will be useful. Suppose you have to calculate the PVR, but there is no variable given in the question through which you can calculate the PVR. Now, this formula will come in handy that if you know the variable cost ratio, suppose the variable cost ratio is 70%, thus the remaining 30% will be PVR. If you know the PVR, suppose it's 20%, then you can easily calculate that the variable cost ratio is 80%, because variable cost and contribution together makes up the sale. इन दोनों को अगर हम रिवर्स में ऐड कर देंगे, that will be the sale. So variable cost in percentage is nothing but the PVR, and variable cost in percentage means it's variable cost ratio. है ना? इसमें लिखिए बेटा, next line में. Use. If we know the variable cost ratio, the remaining will be, if we know the variable cost ratio, comma, the remaining will be the PV ratio. The remaining will be PV ratio. And vice versa. And vice versa. Two more basics are there now regarding the break-even point and margin of safety. Break-even point and margin of safety. Can you please tell me, beta, what do you mean by margin of safety? BEP is very simple. The level of sale at which there is no profit, no loss. Can you please define the terminology margin of safety in your own words? I'm waiting for your answer. What is margin of safety? Lakshmi Narayan has a doubt for fixed cost also changes PVR. Could you share any example? No, beta. Fixed cost will not change my PVR because how contribution is computed, it's the difference between sale and variable cost. It's the difference between sale and variable cost. When I talk about NP ratio, net profit ratio, definitely change in fixed cost will also change my NP ratio. But while computing the contribution, we require only two variable, sales and variable cost. There is no role of fixed cost while computing the contribution. Therefore, any change in the fixed cost will have no impact whatsoever while computing the contribution, that is the PVR. Okay, Lakshmi Narayan? So margin of safety is very simple, beta. Sales above the break-even point. Sales above the break-even point is known as margin of safety. Please write down in your copy. Sales above the margin of sales above the break-even sale is known as margin of safety. Suppose the break-even point is 8,000 units. So the units which you sold above 8,000 units will be known as margin of safety. Okay. So a very important discussion is left regarding the statement of BEP and MOS, through which we will derive three key concepts, through which you need not have any formula to retain in your memory. Through those three key concepts, you can solve any question of marginal costing without any formula. है ना? So formula हमने कहीं पे भी use नहीं किया है कि what is the formula of contribution for PVR or MOF. There is no need to mug up that formula. If you can carry those three concepts, which will be derived in the starting of the next session, that is through extended marginal cost statement, definitely you can solve any question of inter-basic through those three key concepts. And definitely the basic of inter will be helpful whenever we start the final level marginal costing. Okay, बेटा? So आज के लिए बस इतना ही अपन रखते हैं यहाँ पे. In the next session, we will start with that basic concept of extended marginal costing statement. It takes near about 5 to 7 minutes, starting minutes. And after that, we will start the final level marginal costing. So basically, this chapter, decision making, consists of two major topics, marginal costing and relevant costing. Both are very useful technique whenever you proceed towards the pricing decision chapter or the transfer pricing chapter. Trust me, beta, in transfer pricing chapter, almost 80% of transfer pricing syllabus is covered by this chapter, chapter number 5, decision making. So not only individual question is regularly asked from this particular chapter, it is equally important when you deal with chapter number, I think it's 8, transfer pricing. 80% of the content of transfer pricing is based on chapter number 5, marginal costing, and especially relevant costing technique of this particular chapter. Okay. So thank you for watching the session. God bless you all. Thank you.